and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Nurture and Support. I am, as always, Mel at Karmic9 on Twitter. Sometimes. And returning once again is Kelly, who is on Twitter.
Yes, I am. Hi, I'm Kelly Toole at KELLYTHUL on Twitter, and glad to be back for another week of Nurture and Support. Episode 81.
81. We
81.
are. We're just almost to 100. I think we were going to have something special for 100. Is that what we were talking about?
I think we're going to try. So keep that in mind, folks. We'll
Yep.
some of you may be hearing from us.
Yeah, we have to have a party or something. So, speaking of parties, hey, sort of, I have something that could be, my recommendation could be sort of like a party, sort of. I promised y'all I wouldn't do a game this week, and I'm not doing a game, so obviously I have to fall back on my standby of a book.
Okay.
However, this is a type of book that I have never recommended on the show before. It's not really something that is quite in my regular rotation of reading, but it's kind of appropriate at this particular moment. This book...
Pop-up book, right? Pop-up book, because I love pop-up books.
It could... I'm going to tell you, I think this book could make a good pop-up book.
Okay.
It is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up: The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing by Marie Kondo. And it is what it sounds like. It is a book on decluttering. Only it's written by a Marie Kondo, is basically a Japanese organizer person, apparently, from the very little tiny little bit of research I did before we started recording. She is pretty well regarded in this sort of genre over there. Her book is a bestseller in several countries. It's a bestseller on the New York Times list. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's a little kooky. her notions about how you regard your home and your belongings and things like that to us Westerners here in the States who got lots of stuff and things. It's a little kooky for us, but I have to say I did enjoy the book. I'm always drawn to the minimalist sort of aesthetic of Asian decorating and things like that. I just can't live it because I got lots of stuff and things, because I do.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that we remain an audio only offering, because to have Mel recommending this book when sitting behind me is like 100 pounds of loot crate stuff I've got stuck on the wall, and then another pile of like a Darth Vader helmet and a bunch of other junk on it.
Yes.
So I could probably learn something here.
Well, I have to tell you, Kelly, my Loot Crate collection is way, way, way worse looking than yours, and it is part of what has inspired the reading of this book. She has some pretty neat notions. If you've read any sort of how to get organized or how to get rid of so much of your overflow extra stuff that you have, if you've read books like that, I've read a few, because this has been a constant problem throughout my life, basically. And none of them obviously have ever stuck. She swears that clients of hers that go through her program never rebound into being slobs again. She swears that not one of her clients has ever rebounded and become a slob. Once they tidy up, you tidy up forever.
By the way, we slobs prefer the term organizationally challenged.
Okay. I'm a slob, and I am organizationally challenged. So she, people in Japan pay this woman to come in and help them tidy up their homes. I found the book just very interesting because they live very differently than we live. They live in spaces that are very different than the spaces that we live in, and to hear her talk about, some of these families live in homes that have only 2 rooms, and then and and they think they have a lot of stuff, and I want to go, oh my god, she would die if she saw my house. So basically, what sets this book apart from so many of the others is that she basically believes that you need to get rid of anything that does not quote unquote spark joy when you pick it up. She's very big on, she anthropomorphizes basically your belongings. She treats them like they have feelings, and these are the things that, reading some of the reviews on Goodreads are quite amusing. From some people have been very creative in what they have to say about these feelings. But despite all of that, she's got some good ideas that I liked. Her idea is that you take all of your, say, clothes. She recommends you start with clothes. You take every bit of clothing that you have and you dump it all on the floor. All of it. All of it. Because if you miss any, except the one thing that you cannot put on the floor is maybe the stuff that you have in the laundry. Everything else has to get dumped on the big pile in the floor. All of your clothing, every single bit of it, because if you don't put it in the pile, then it automatically gets discarded. Because if you didn't remember where it was to put it in the pile, you obviously don't want it anymore. So then you have to pick up each and every piece of clothing and see if it sparks joy. If it doesn't spark joy, then it's discarded. And you have to touchy-feely every single one of your belongings to see if it sparks joy, to whether you should keep it or get rid of it. She swears that if you do this, that you will, once you're tidied up, that you'll never go back to over accumulating, having lots of crap everywhere. You won't rebound. And I just have to say that I obviously have not tried this method yet, but when I was looking into it a little bit, there are a bunch of YouTube videos from organizational people that do little shows on YouTube where they've tried out these methods. And they have also said that they've been amazed that when they do that, the sheer pile of clothes that they have is astonishing to them, and is clearly they have too much stuff. And that it's really changed the way that they looked at it. So that's just someone else's view. I can tell you right off the bat I have too many clothes. I can tell you right off the bat I have too much of pretty much everything. So
But do you have a single pair of socks that spark joy?
I do actually. I have a
Okay.
couple of pairs of cushy socks that actually make my feet feel good. I do.
Okay. All right.
I do.
Fair enough.
Now, am I going to get rid of every pair of socks I own except for those 3? No. So I'm a little more practical than that. And that is one of the things that people are knocking this book about. But like I said, she she believes that you should thank your clothing for protecting you all day, and that it's almost like it has feelings, and it's almost like your house has a soul, and if you ask your house to help you, then it will help you get organized. But despite that little level of kookiness that is there, I found the book pretty entertaining, on top of perhaps useful in the end. But I liked the little glimpse it gave me of perhaps the Japanese culture, and how they live compared to the sheer excess. And I think I'm pretty mild for a lot of people, but the sheer excess that I live with. And it's something I aspire to. Whether I will actually buckle down and try the things that she talks about, I don't know, because basically, as happens in every organizational book I've ever read, they really don't like you keeping books. And this is a problem I have with these people, because I'm sorry, books. I have a lot of books. I could open my own library. I'm not getting rid of my books. But she does say you should save the hardest things for last. And she thinks that's like personal mementos and things like that. For me, that would be my books, because no, they're not going anywhere. So I found this book, 1, entertaining, 2, possibly useful. It's a pretty short little read, and it actually has a whole lot of good ratings on it. Let's see, on Goodreads, 15,796 people have rated this book. It's actually sitting on Goodreads right now with a 3.83 stars. So that is a pretty good, with that many reviews on it, that's pretty good. So it's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and it's by Marie Kondo. It's a New York Times bestseller. There's a Japanese TV show based on all of this coming out. It's a big hit in Germany and the UK from what I've read. So if that sounds like something that you might want to read and you're not going to mind that she wants you to thank your socks for protecting your feet all day and things like that, then I think that you should maybe give this book a read. I thought it was fun.
It does sound fun, and I could use the help. but the problem I have is I have like a very low joy threshold, because I'm just doing kind of a quick scan here, and I go, my drone gives me joy, my Atari 2600 gives me joy, my Darth Vader helmet gives me joy. So all these things do give me.
Things. And that's one of the things that I like, is that she doesn't try to tell you, your comic book collection is immature, you're a grown man, you need to get rid of it. She doesn't try to say that, which a lot of organizational books don't care whatever your fandom is. That's clutter and you should get rid of it. She basically believes if that brings you joy, then you should keep it.
Very cool.
She also thinks you should throw away every instruction manual that comes with all of your equipment. And I'm like, really? She keeps no papers. You should throw them all away. I'm like, okay. I don't know about that.
Well, the only thing, like I said, on my quick scan through the space I'm in right now, the only thing that doesn't give me joy is the large stack of work papers I see over there. So
throw them away.
Throw them away. I'm feeling better already. I like it. I like it a lot.
Absolutely. So.
Oh, very cool.
I thought it was fun.
Well, that does sound very cool. So my recommendation is going to work actively against Mel's recommendation.
Awesome.
So if Mel's about getting rid of stuff, I'm all about it's time for you to get some stuff. And so we're going to stuff and things, case, and maybe when you clean out you're going to have room to go here. So I'm actually going to recommend Sam's Club today as my recommendation. And I did some research on this. While I am not an Amazon Prime member, I am a Sam's Club member, and that'll run you $45 a year, just so you kind of know about what that would cost you. Sam's Club is related to Walmart. If you're not familiar, Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, Sam's Club, it's their kind of wholesale, buy in bulk, big stuff, cool things store. Interesting enough, as I did fortunate research for me, because probably same amount of time as you, Mel, but I got like really lucky and came across a couple of very informative sources, because actually recently Sam's Club's in a little bit of trouble. Their growth has stagnated. They're not launching up, and Costco is really kind of thumping them. Costco's been doing really, really well. Where I'm at, I don't have the choice. There is no Costco to compete with Sam's Club, but there is a Sam's Club here. But I know a lot of folks have choices there. So this is less about, I'm just kind of talking about what I like about Sam's Club. I think there's certainly not a criticism of Costco, and I don't really have a lot of experience. I did kind of the article that I kind of read through was talking about maybe some of the differences between the two. Is that Costco has built a pretty strong in-store brand that they'll release things underneath that has gotten a good reputation. The version of Bumblebee tuna was repackaged underneath their brand, and it was supposed to be better, and people loved it, and that brand got some type of things. And Sam's doesn't really have that corollary right now, and that seems to be one of the big pieces and all that. The reading I did also did bring up Amazon Prime as one of the other areas that might be giving Sam's Club a little bit of trouble in terms of that for that. But I am recommending it. Why I'm recommending it is that it brings me joy to kind of go through. In terms of like big box electronics, if you're looking for your next TV, next laptop, phone, or those types of things, you can actually at a Sam's Club, you're going to probably find the best price if you're going into a store, physically going into it. You may be able to scout something out a little better online, but big ticket items typically pay for the membership. If you're going to buy one of those things, it kind of clears out pretty well. They have some fairly interesting things. Of course, there's the samples, which is a big thing that you can kind of cruise. You pick your timing right, particularly on the weekend, and you don't need to eat lunch because you can go to Sam's, and as you're walking through Sam's, you can pretty much load up on, oh, look, they're giving the sample cheeseburger over here, and here's some, and it's diverse fruits, vegetables, and plenty of meat products as well from there. It also is the only store I've seen that offers the 4-foot tall shotgun-shaped whiskey decanter, which every time I go in, I continue to eyeball at a very affordable price, I might add.
Absolutely.
But I'm not really sure about a shotgun whiskey decanter.
Does
Lots
it bring you joy?
It would. I think it would bring me joy, and then it would bring me sadness. And but it was. I think I'm going to start using that to say, but it'll bring me joy.
That's right.
Excellent. So if you're not familiar with Sam's Club, like I said, it's a wide variety of things. There's going to be food. There's actually bakery. There's take and bake pizzas, or they'll cook them there for you. So that stuff's really good, and pizza is excellent. Clothing, books, videos, and then tons and tons and tons of bulk products. So you can get I'm trying to make sure I get the dimensions right here. So imagine a propane tank full of cheese balls. So you can buy these nice big buckets of cheese balls and all those types of things too. So it's go big or go home at Sam's in terms of that, whether it's olives, cheese balls, and all that. You get it at a really good price, but you get a lot of it. Part of the reason I'm recommending it, and Mel and I were talking a little bit before the show, is that I needed to get a kind of a pergola built on our pool deck, just to be by there. That was been a long time coming. And plan A was I would create the plans for the pool deck and buy the lumber and build the pergola myself. I'm more of an idea guy, and so I'd have the broad brushstrokes of an awesome pergola, but like the actual dimensions and all the ticky-tack details on how many bolts are necessary to hold that up so it won't collapse and all that.
Yeah.
Not so much my thing. I can do it, somewhat painful, and if I screw it up, I got nobody to blame but me. So I did start to look at kits and was looking online, and there were some pretty cool options there, but they were pretty salty in terms of price. And that's just, ordering them and getting them delivered. But lo and behold, last visit to Sam's, walk in, and what was there sitting there but a very lovely cedar pergola, pretty darn sturdy looking, and a full kit. And so I want to be careful I say it, is that it's not, so you don't build it with Allen wrenches, but but it was clear that the hardware that they were providing, or they were Allen wrench-esque, shall I say. So I was like, well, how hard, I'm not going to have to muscle with it, but it was really sturdy, looked like very good quality. It came in a couple of boxes that you could fit in a truck without too much difficulty. Got it home, and I'm probably at about the 80% mark of setting it up, and it's looking good. I like what I've got, and it was, about 15% of what the comparable size online order that I was looking, because I had been looking for a kit online, and I had said, okay, this is probably what I'm going to go with, and this thing was 15% of that price, and
wow.
so that was good. It's sturdy. It's going to be I think working out pretty well. I haven't screwed it up yet. It's up. It's not wobbly. It's square. So it's good. But you never really kind of know what you're going to run into there in terms of some of their little specials and all of that. But there's a good diversity. I think you get the $45 out eventually in savings in terms of things you're doing. The bakery type of thing, if you need like a birthday cake, or if there's an event or those types of things, they do. The sheet cakes they provide are really, really good. The frosting's awesome on them. So it's some good options there. There's some take-home meal kind of package type of things too that sometimes are actually really, really very good. The lobster macaroni salad, or lobster going on through the macaroni lobster kind of bake, really, really good. And lobster in Illinois is always a dicey proposition. So this is okay. It was good. So I'm recommending Sam's, not against Costco, because I can't tell you about Costco, but in terms of, it's a good option to have. Have had a membership before, kind of let it lapse, and then have kind of come back. And I'm like, it's good. I mean, for your if you're looking to shop for the week to say, oh, I need to set up a couple meals and all that, may not be the store for you there because you get it in a big order. But some pretty cool options, and I just, like I said, I'm in a much better place regarding the pergola, and it was pretty awesome. So that's where I'm going to go this week, is recommend Sam's Club,
Cool.
which is Amazon Prime for the common man. So
Yeah, it's Amazon Prime. You can go wander around and be afraid things are going to fall off of very tall shelves.
yes. Yeah, it's always good to go to a store where they put yellow safety tape to like close rows off when they're
Yes.
reloading it and restocking it, and it's
Yes.
like, wow, I guess that's a good point. I could get killed here, couldn't I?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
We've had both Sam's. I have family with Sam's membership. I've had a Costco before, but I let it lapse because I wasn't using it enough to warrant the price. Because we've mentioned before that Mel doesn't like crowds, and these places get very crowded.
Indeed,
So,
they do.
yeah. So I didn't use mine enough, so I let it lapse. But I have actually thought recently about getting of renewing it. But we have both Sam's and Costco in my area, and actually the Costco's are starting to outnumber the Sam's. I didn't realize that Sam's wasn't doing as well as it used to. So interesting.
Very cool.
But always
So-
cool stuff.
So this is like, we need a sponsor. It's like, this week's Nurture and Support brought to you by Home and Garden or something like that.
Yes.
Because this was a, and whatever you buy at Sam's, you can bring it home, and then you can read Mel's book, and if it doesn't bring you joy, you can pitch it.
And that's okay with her because it served its purpose by bringing you joy when you bought it. Afterwards, if it doesn't bring you joy anymore, that's perfectly okay. You're not to blame. There's no judgment saying you should have more self-control. It brought you joy when you bought it. There's no blame. I like her. She doesn't blame me for being a over-shopping sort of person who buys things
I like how she thinks.
compulsively.
Very cool.
You can buy it, and then you can get rid of it. So,
There you go.
so now is Kelly's social media hour.
Yeah. It's a special segment, Nurture and Support, we like to call Kelly's social media recommendation, because Mel's been off, but she's coming back, and I think.
Yes, I'm working on it. I'm sorry. I've had a bad week, and I fell off the wagon. I was so sure I was going to be back in my social media groove this week. It just didn't happen. I'm sorry.
Well before show, yeah, and this isn't a show 100 surprise that's the big reintroduction, is Mel's got a social media it'll be well before that, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I do have one today, and I think it's kind of a fun one. My recommendation today is Leslie Brooks, and her Twitter handle is at LESLIE_ANNIE. Leslie Ann is her Twitter handle. So Leslie is a model, and she's a purty lady. She's definitely, there's a reason she's a model. She's a very attractive lady. But I just have found so cool about her is she's got 116,000 followers, but there's never been a time when she's tweeted something out and I've responded to it or something like that, had some level of interaction, that she hasn't responded back. She's just good and interactive. She's just grounded, very nice, interacts, playful on Twitter in terms of just jokes and those types of things. Her most recent tweet was, "Forget about being all about the base. I'm all about those burritos." That's an example tweet. So there you go. You gotta like that. So she's funny. She's very nice. And then I am actually surprised with, she's got 116,000 people following her, and she's following about 50,000 people. So I mean, these are
Nice.
big numbers, but she interacts, and I don't know how she manages to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But she does, and so she's nice, she's funny, and I just thought it'd be nice to give her a shout out this week as my Twitter recommendation.
Cool.
Because she brings me joy.
Absolutely. And you gotta love a chick that likes burritos.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Cool.
Speaking of a chick that likes burritos, Matt is going to now give you some information about how you can contact us on Nurture and Support. Keep track of us either through email or the website. Oh, I hope he listens to this episode. Wish it on a star. But Matt will fill you in on how to connect with us on Twitter, on our website, iTunes, YouTube, many different ways. And so thank you, Matt, for that. And I don't have anything else to say. Thanks to everybody for listening.
Thanks, everybody. And all of you out there, you bring me joy. So I will keep you.
Well said.
We'll be back next week.
You can contact us on our website, nurtureandsupport.net, or email us at nurtandsupp@gmail.com. That's NURTANDSUPP@gmail.com, or tweet us at nurtandsupp on Twitter. You can also catch Nurture and Support on YouTube. Just search Nurture and Support or Kelly Toole.
Nurturing and supporting.